that you can't keep putting in place policies that are only on the social side, making you spend without investing in areas for which you have marginal returns or excessive returns. And then ultimately also making sure you check the financial sector and then the losses within the sector as well. And let me go to that document I talked about, because we've all been reading it because it's now become a public document. He said, the combination of large external shocks and then pre-existing fiscal and debt vulnerabilities.
The first one is a combination of what?
Large external shocks.
Large.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then pre-existing fiscal and debt vulnerabilities precipitated, the way you emphasize on the large, emphasize on the next, precipitated a deep economic and financial crisis in Ghana. This is the IMF. Now, that will mean that we need to undertake key reforms in policy interventions. What do you think should give by way of the policy interventions to be able to make sure we stay within our means?
I think if you really delved into my first submission, you realize that almost everything I said is the same thing the three of us are talking about. Except that me and my brother, because of politics sometimes, maybe a few issues. But what was I talking about? Wrong fundamentals, which we cannot associate that with only one regime. And then my uncle here made a good point that within the Fourth Republic, the governments that have come. So all the challenges we are all raising and you are raising, and it is a fact. Let's be honest with ourselves. There have been problems with us for about 30 years. This is my point. There are a lot of wrong fundamentals. That one we should accept and appreciate these things.
Why are you admitting that now?
Oh, who told you I never admitted? Who told you?
The reality,
I'm coming.
The reality is that the government never accepted any.
That is not true.
That is true.
I'm saying that is not true. I'm speaking. You say that is true. Have I said that? But what I'm saying is that, my brother, before the COVID, what was our fiscal space? Debt vulnerability and the fiscal space you are talking about is because, characteristically, Ghana, we run negative effective tax rate economy. All government. What I mean is that monies outlaid to the households in our country are always more than monies we generate internally, excluding loans. So we run, characteristically, a deficit economy all the time. Only about 2 million out of 31 million people pay direct taxes. There are leakages that you can say the buck stopped at the head. Fine. But my brother, in a democratic dispensation, along the value chain and critical activity path, if all of us don't change our mindset and we sit here and always think it's only Mahama and Anado, we should forget. That's what I'm saying. Now you're talking about.
When did you realize this?
Oh, please stop. When?
But that's the truth.
Okay, I'm telling you today. Okay. You answered.
Okay.
Thank
yes,
you.
I'm answering. Go ahead.
I'm asking you. Why do you in this country that the most, the final profound statement of the IMF boss said that Ghana was doing well till the COVID. Let's be very honest. It was so emphatic without any ambiguity and debate. That one, nobody wants to talk about it. Because the parameters were doing well. Talking about their sustainability, yes, I understand as a country because of the fundamentals.
How are we doing well? We go to the market, borrow 3 billion.
Go to where?
The market borrow 3
billion.
billion.
Not borrowing? We live in this country. The year 2000, our debt to GDP was about 150%.
Okay.
We live in this country. When aren't we borrowing? When? If you have a country that emolument alone takes about 70% of our revenue generated internally, cut across all government, what is happening? So we know that as a country, we have wrong fundamentals. How do we fix them so that going forward we will be economically independent? If you don't want us to address this, then we'll do comparisons. Because if not anything at all, my brother was asking what we've been doing. I'm talking about my constituency. You can go and check. And then another Danko Ekufuado, my constituency. 2,200 school children have access to tables and chairs. First, when I became MP, you can go and check. All secondary schools, I'm not saying they have enough, but they all have computers.
What's your point on this point?
No, he was saying that what do you use the money for? So I'm telling you what the money has been used for. Every constituency had ambulance. Roads, about 60% of my roads are done. Now I drive between in Samom and Apeja. It takes me 21 minutes. So let's behave there's nothing being done. Look, 1D1F, is it not a policy framework to put money and help investors get money so that we can generate something out of it? The problem is...
How many factories do we have now?
I can't off head, but...
Are there over 100?
Yes.
Yeah. So which projects over the last 7 years have led to some good import substitution?
Boss, I don't have all the figures. You can't come and ask me anything that I don't hold a book here.
Let
me explain things. I'm saying let me explain things.
Why
Don't do this to me. I'm not fighting you. You are just doing. If you think you want to do politics, just do, because I'm not fighting you.
Okay, please go.
We are talking. Have I insulted you?
No, not at all.
Have I said anything bad?
Not at all.
If you ask somebody to answer a question, he's answering. He doesn't even end a sentence. You go and bring another issue. And I'm saying, let me finish. You say I'm fighting you.
It's in line with your...
The propaganda you are doing will not wash, because you know me. I'm a very smart guy. The point that I'm making is that every point anybody...
And I'm not doing propaganda. I'm asking you questions.
But I'm not fighting you. So why did you make that statement?
Please go ahead.
Thank you. The point I'm making is that everything that my brother from NDC and Uncle here raised is a fact. But there are issues with us fundamentally for a long time. But if you want to do politics, look, my brother was talking about utilities. UK, here, electricity increased 66.7, gas 129.4. Even those who have properly structured economy. So the point I'm making is that let's take away the politics and try to make sure that we analyze these wrong fundamentals so that as a country, we can build. That's what I'm saying. Okay. NDC may come, NDC may lose. If we don't all come together, CPP can come, CPP can lose. If we all don't come together and we keep on, and we are promising because Ghanaians want the promises and people want to come to power. Right now, if you want to Ghanaians to vote for you, and you tell them that I used my first 4 years to restructure this, to do this. I'm not going to even do more roads. I'm not going to give free this. Let's be honest, we're Ghanaians vote for you.
I haven't been on a political platform, so I
wouldn't
know.
I
haven't assessed voters. So I don't know what they will vote and not vote.
I'm saying to support what he said. So all of us, the key point here is that we need to renew our mindset. Just as Ephesians 4:23 says. Renew your mind. Okay. Ghanaians, we have a lot of issues in all sectors. Right now, let's take former President Mahama Nanado, myself, my brother here, CPP man, everybody, and bring a set of people. You think these problems will be solved?
Maybe they'll get better.
Maybe. Go to the institutions. Look, I want to give
because we are on a path of conjecture.
I want to give you assignment.
Because right now we have Jamama and Ekufado.
Because when people are talking, you don't do this. It's only me you want to
do
bad and forth.
That is not true.
You don't.
That is not true. I was doing back and forth with him.
No, he will ask you a question after you spoke. He's not doing what he's doing to me. The point I'm making is that.
Go ahead.
The point I'm making is that go to all the institutions in Ghana. When you finish, it's unfortunate I'm traveling. Go to all the institutions, being education, being ministries, being media houses, being all the universities, and go and check their toilets. Go and check. We have professors there.
What has toilet got to do with
what I'm saying is that it's easy. Talk is cheap. You said they will do better. You think it is the attitude of Ghanaians we have to work on. This is a fact. But the point that I'm making is that it is always a good point that we invest our money in the areas that we can earn, as they are all saying. We all know. But why are we not doing that? Because productivity is an issue in our country. Go to the ministry, go to the agencies. Those who are supposed to come to work 8, they will come 9. Okay. Lunch 1 hour, they will do 2 hours. Sticker. Going home 5, they will go 4. Always on their phones.
Sticker.
We need to work on this. If a leader wants to change that, there will be demonstrations. A country, you can't come out with policies in terms of taxes. NDC will say no, MPP will say no. When we need to be honest with God and ourselves and change this country.
Sticker.
Other than that, we'll do all this propaganda, attacking each other. Some speak out of unconscious incompetence. They don't even understand subject areas. And they will do all this against NDC, MPP, ourselves, and the media will be divided, and professors will talk along and depend on their individual interests. Ghana will be the same. But the fact of the matter is that one thing I'm happy about, the COVID killed a lot of people in the world. Ghana was one of the best countries we could control. Is it fatality?
The rest of Africa.
One of the countries.
The fatality was low.
When I say one, I didn't.
The rest of Africa, the
did I say
fatality was
only Ghana? No, did I say only Ghana?
So, Stika, let me ask you. Let me ask
did
you.
I say only Ghana?
No, you didn't.
So why are you saying this?
Okay, Stika, let me ask you a
it's
question.
one of the countries.
Okay.
So don't try to force yourself and get issues with my
All
statement.
right. So far, I think that you've brought us to a premise where we are saying that we all need to be dispassionate. Prior to 2017, these were the issues that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia talked about. We make sure we stay within our means. We don't borrow excessively. Indeed, he did criticize in 2015 that going to the IMF was a mark of incompetence. Indeed, even a mark of incompetence as a phrase. He's the one who brought it into the media lexicon. If that is so, what do you think do we need to do now, led by the finance minister, if he's still going to be there, and then, well, the president's economic management team, by way of policy interventions and efforts to make sure that we are staying true to what you are preaching? Should we reduce some policy, some expenditure? What should
I'm
we
surprised that the question you're asking, you have to go and state, oh, that Bawumia said and that. Have you changed your mind before?
About what?
Your decisions. Have you in your life? And why did you change your mind? Even the Bible says that it is the foolish person, the fool, that doesn't change his mind. Situations and uncertainties, risk factors, can let you change your mind. I decided to come here 7 o'clock. I could have been late. Something could have happened. You could have been late. So let us always analyze changing of positions in the context that actually compelled us doing that thing. Don't let us take it. That one I disagree. We decided not to go to IMF. Our fiscal space had been badly disturbed. We wanted to use electronic system because it's the business of the day to generate taxes. Parliament had been a balanced, we were having a balanced parliament. And we needed to go there for approval. And the opposition used that opportunity or threat to let us have this thing probably extended over about 6 months. And Ghanaians decided not to be part of the obligation or perform the obligation. We didn't get the money we wanted. So people should die. I decided not to take my child to Kolebu. Something happened unexpected. My child is dying. Because I said I will not take, my child should die.
My question.
I'm coming. You understand what I'm saying? So that thing, let's address that. The question of what we have to do, I think.
Practically,
whether NDC and PP. First thing to do, one is to control expenditure.
How?
One. You see, I think, and this, I'm being honest, whether you're NDC and PP, don't get me wrong. I think in our country, the way we manage our finance and economy, there should be a new paradigm shift. How? In the first place, if we want to control cost, we have expenditure variables that are not necessarily impacting our GDP greatly. We need to sit down. Finance and economy is mathematics. We should be able to select those with very weak correlation with our GDP and deal away with them.
Like?
For instance, me. No. When I said, I know there were some people...
No, deal with the national budget or the policy.
If I had my discretion, all those living in government bungalows, whether you're a minister or whatever, you pay.
Thank you very much.
You pay money. That's if I were.
So government bungalow...
You have to pay.
Accommodators.
Yes. How much is a bungalow in Osu here cost? Some they pay like 5,000 a month.
Which other one?
Dollars.
Which other one?
I'm coming. 2. What we can also do is to sit down and have properly designed frameworks for our industry because we have very weak entrepreneurial ecosystems.
So what should we do?
We are not supposed to import anything agricultural product in my produce or product. It doesn't even make sense.
So reduce imports.
So we can only do that by sitting down to properly design the value chains with numbers. Do we know the size of land that we can grow even rice on against the amount we consume annually? What is the entire value chain? What can we do? What do we need to produce that quantity every year? And these are our numbers. We have good policies, whether in these young people, but something what goes into the policy in terms of the design of the value chain and the numbers and the risk, probably we are not there. We need to do something. 3, the management of our fiscal policies and then monetary policies. I have a problem with that.
The Bank of Ghana. So the finance minister.
Together.
So Bank of Ghana has failed, finance minister has failed.
I haven't said that. Don't do this. If you do this, I won't be happy. If you do this, I can't open up and speak. Have I told you they failed?
No, you haven't.
No, what you are doing is not fair.
I'm only asking.
You can't say that so has failed.
Okay, I've retracted.
Me my recommendations, and I'm trying to give my suggestions. Then you are saying these things.
Oh, no. Let's go ahead.
Bank of Ghana
fiscal and monetary policy
hadn't been competent, probably this country would have gone out of gear.
Oh, please.
If the finance, of course, because you don't understand. Do you understand those things? do you know how monetary policy can be?
Not into detail like you, but
and
I understand the
you
fundamentals.
listen to me and stop what you're doing. Because I think you are displaying ego trips. You need to stop that.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Go ahead. What I'm saying is that when NDC was there, on your own station here, I debated the then Bank of Ghana boss and the MPP have debated them on various stations, I think on Joy. Sometimes certain primary policies are rather being dysfunctional. They are in management, we call them strategic drift. When prices are going up, all the time we want to increase policy rate. And all the time, inflation rate, which is the main target, rather increases. Because we don't find the cause of it. That is one thing. If it's a cost push or demand pull, they should know all those mathematics and the correlations. That's one. Two, the issue where government, whether A or B, borrows money on our market. In fact, it's one of the most
you mean domestic market?
Look, if government is borrowing at a higher rate than private sector, what it means is that risk-free is giving higher returns. And that's why all the banks put their monies in government securities. And when they put their monies in government securities, private sector doesn't get the money they are supposed to get. Adequate funds. The small amount they will get, interest rate will always be 40, 50, whether in DCMPP. So those fundamentals, as a country, we need to sit down and work on them. Lastly, we should, situations such as this, just as Uncle here said, look, there are a lot of good people. Somewhere like Atoforsin, he's a very good guy. I'm in the same profession with him. He's NDC, I'm MPP. He's very good. Sometimes, because of politics, he will do something else, me too, I'll do something else. Apart from MPP and this, there are a lot of good guys. We should come together, and now, outside politics, what can we do? What can we do as a country that in 2-3 years' time, we will not import anything agricultural? If we do this, my boss, I'm ending with this. You see what will happen. Because when I used to go to London, my brother, cleaning, washing, kitchen, why? Because industries are working. Every segment of the
so that's why you can't compare the two economies, right?
I'm coming. I'm not comparing the two. I make a statement based on the fact that even they are stronger, we depend on them, they are suffering, so we will suffer.
All right.
So I was talking about that dependency relation and the ripple effect. I wasn't doing comparison.
Is it possible that these things that you know, the finance minister maybe hasn't...
But the finance minister, if he hasn't done what he...
Hasn't averred in
he's done,
his
so
mind
if maybe if he hadn't been that finance minister, Ghana would have totally collapsed.
This finance minister?
I'm telling you.
That your own party wants to go...
My own party? But in NDC, you think everybody was happy with Setope? Even here, your boss here, you think everybody working here likes your boss?
Okay.